All right, all right, all right. Welcome back, welcome back. You know what time it is? The Fan in the Van podcast time. As you can see, I'm solo tonight as my buddy Jay, co-host, had to work tonight. So let's just jump into it. We got excellent Saturday and Sunday football games. Any Saturday is a great night when you see Baltimore lose. Lamar goes down with a concussion late in the game. But listen, Baltimore, you knew at some point they were going to choke in the playoffs, right? I mean, we all knew it. We all knew it. It's just a matter of fact that Lamar's never going to win the big one. Let's just call it what it is. And the same thing over in Cleveland yesterday. Everybody thinks, and even I thought it, Mahomes goes down with that nasty hit he took from Mac Wilson, which you want to call it a trash hit. Like, like Patrick Mahomes' mommy came out and said, it's trash football. Listen, your son knew what he signed up for when he started playing football at a young age, okay? You're going to take hits like that, bottom line. It's just what it's going to be. Was it a bit of a dirty hit? You could say it was, but you want to know what? To me, football's football. Be a man, sack up. As my buddy Sal would say. Sack up, man up, stop being a beta, blah, 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 and all that other shit, right? Okay. So, speaking of that game, everybody thinks the world's going to end, right? Cleveland's going to go to the AFC Championship game, right? And Chad Henne, for whatever reason, channels his inner Patrick Mahomes, you could say, and pretty much beats Baker Mayfield. Now you get the pivotal AFC Championship game that I personally didn't want to see, but since my team got knocked out, and yeah, I'm one of those knowledgeable Steeler fans who knows a lot about his team and knows that they played like shit in the playoffs, that they didn't even show up. Let's just call it what it is. But now you got the Bills Chiefs. And this all rides on if Mahomes is cleared from concussion protocol. Okay? If he is, listen, it's not going to be a blowout. But if Mahomes can't play, bye-bye Kansas City. That's all I'm going to say. And then my sleeper pick goes to the Super Bowl and wins it all. Because just picture if you get, and a lot of people starting to clamor for this one, Bills versus the Bucs, because you have Josh Allen versus Tom Brady, and it's not in a regular season game, and it's not like in an AFC playoff format. It's for the big one. If Josh Allen can beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, my God. Listen, I already give Josh Allen the credit that he's duly deserved. He's improved from year one to year, 3 now? Okay. So, you got to give him that. And for this Bills team to do what they've been doing, I think to be a complete team, they need 1 or 2 more pieces on defense. They need another wide receiver to complement Beasley and Diggs, because it just can't be those two all the time. And John Brown, whatever his name is, he was actually the weapon he was the unsung weapon to me in the game against the Ravens, because you knew it was going to go to Diggs. You knew it was going to go to Beasley. So he had to find a third offensive weapon, and he found it in Brown at times. So that's just, Josh Allen was able to adapt and overcome when need be, and Lamar, gets the nasty concussion, and you hate to see it. Listen, even though I was happy when he was pulled from the game, but not for a concussion. Because those are nothing to play with. I mean, look at guys like Gronk. I mean, he's going to come back for he's going to come back for next season. Why? What more does Gronk have to prove here? I don't get it, but whatever. For a guy who complained about the 10 plus concussions he's had in a short span, come back for more. But and speaking of the Buccaneers, okay, the only reason why Tampa won this game is because Breeze choked in the worst times he should have choked. Throwing 3 picks literally back to back to back, you could say. That's where Tampa came back and scored pretty much a majority of their points is off New Orleans turnovers. Breeze was just afraid at some point to gun it down the field to Thomas, or even gun it to Emmanuel Sanders. Kamara, he was decent at running, but then the Bucs were able to stop him at points. I heard Saints fans complain, we didn't have Taysom Hill, we didn't have Latavius Murray. Listen, and they even said in the broadcast, and this is what annoyed me. They're saying, well, now Sean Payton's without five extra plays in his playbook. You got to adapt to every situation. You're not down for those extra 5 plays because Taysom Hill's not in the game. You could easily ran him with Jameis Winston. Could have did it, but you chose not to do it. And they actually had to use Winston at one point, and that was the only deep ball that was thrown by New Orleans, was by a guy who went 30 for 30 last year. And it was amazing. He actually threw it to his own team. You actually thought I thought he was gonna throw a pick there and throw it to Tampa, pretend like he was still on the Buccaneers. But he didn't. And now you get Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. And I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but when the Steelers were in the playoffs, I wanted the Steelers Buccaneers Super Bowl. But now that the Steelers are out, Tampa, you're not getting there. Because as good as Tom Brady is, Aaron Rodgers is just as good. And you could say, well, and I'll agree with what everybody's thinking, and they're going to say is that Tampa just has too many weapons. Yeah, they do, from Antonio to Evans to Scotty Miller, Cameron Brate, Gronk, Ronald Jones, Fournette. But Aaron Rodgers has got weapons too. And it's all really going to come down to the 2-minute drill in the fourth quarter. Whoever gets the ball with 2 minutes left is the team that's going to win it. It's just case in point. If you don't know the game, that's just what it's going to come down to. A lot of people agree. I'm sure if, and I'm going to try to get this worked out where, because my buddy Sal wants to come on and, he wants to school my ass, he said. But, and he got the Final Four right. So, Sal, I got to give you credit. Bills, Chiefs, Packs, Bucks. You got it right, pal. You got it right. There's no... I can't shit on it. You got it right. But the Super Bowl is going to either be, and this is what it comes down to. If Mahomes is out, the Bills make it to the Super Bowl. Now, we've all seen case in point what happens with the Bills in the Super Bowl, and we've seen it 4 straight times, and that's when, shanked field goals, whatever else back in the 90s, right? It's all the Bills were ever known for, getting to the big game but never winning it. If they got to play Green Bay in the Super Bowl, they're evenly matched up, in my opinion, from every position on offense. Because Josh Allen is proving he's just as good as Aaron Rodgers. Now, Josh Allen still has a long way to go, but right now, in the present, he's just as good as either Brady or Aaron Rodgers. So whoever Buffalo faces, it's not going to be no easy feat for either team. If you think it's going to be an easy feat, I got another thing I got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you, because it's not going to be an easy feat. It's not going to be. Buffalo is going to keep coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are like the Terminator. They're not going to stop until you're dead. That's it. And it was sad to watch the Saints game. You really don't want to see Breeze end his career that way. Even though he hasn't come out and said it, Jay Glazer came out and has said it. This one's come out and said it. Drew Brees really hasn't come out and said it, but if you watch the end where he goes to Jameis Winston, he pretty much told him, and this is from a report I read, that he told Winston it's his team, but Winston's a free agent at the end of the year. So now the Saints are in a predicament with, what do you do? Do you make Jameis Winston the starter, not knowing which Jameis Winston you're going to get? Or do you make Taysom Hill the starter? Or do you get risky, knowing Deshaun Watson wants out? Now, the Deshaun Watson situation garners so much steam now because of all the other 31 teams, including the Saints, so 32, right? Out of all the NFL teams, the one team who can offer the most and get Deshaun Watson is my buddy Rob's team, the Jets. Because with that number 2 pick, it holds just as much value as the number 1 pick. And from what I read, it's certain scenarios, it would be the Jets would have to give up the 2nd round pick. They'd have to give up this round, certain round picks, probably 2 first rounders in the next year or 2. And if I'm the Jets, if I'm Joe Douglas, and even though you've come out and said that Darnold is the future quarterback of this team, if I'm Joe Douglas, I got to sit across from the Johnsons. I got to sit across from Robert Saleh, or however you say his name, which, by the way, the guy should have been a head coach last year. But listen, Jets fans, I got to congratulate you on this, because the Jets, and I said you shouldn't bring in an older guy to coach this team. And Urban Meyer wouldn't have been the choice. Jim Harbaugh, definitely not. And you see a lot of other teams taking risks on defensive coordinators. The Chargers hired the Rams defensive coordinator. The Saints offensive coordinator, whatever he is, he took the Lions job. And speaking of head coaching jobs, listen, the Texans job ain't looking so hot right now with all the friggin' dismay going on over there. But going back to the Jet head coach hire, it's the guy gets number praise from everybody across the league. He was a great defensive coordinator in San Francisco, obviously being part of, I think it was like the 15 49ers Super Bowl appearance team, even though they didn't win it. Still, he would have been he was on the radar on a lot of teams. Jets offered him a better deal, and here he is with the Jets now. Now, he's come out and he said that he wants Darnold as his quarterback from everything I've read. Whether it's true or not, I can't tell you. All I go based on is what I read. If you go with Darnold and don't trade for Watson, it's not a total buzzkill because, again, you have the second pick, and if you're smart, you take Sewell from Oregon, you boost up that offensive line opposite Becton, okay? You find another wide receiver. Listen, you got another pick later in the first round. If one of these top wide receivers is there, like if Waddle from Alabama is there, you take him. If Najee Harris is there and you know you need a running back, even though everybody's telling me we're drafting Najee Harris, listen, I'll believe it when I see it. Every mock draft I see has Najee Harris falling to the Steelers. I don't see it. I don't see Najee Harris falling that far. And case in point, even if the Jets decide to walk away from Darnold, I'm seeing that Justin Fields falls to the Falcons. How? To me, knowing what I've seen from Justin Fields from last year and the 6 games he played, including the playoff games and the college championship game, listen, the kid plays with grit, all right? You could agree or disagree, but he plays with grit, okay? And that's the type of quarterback, if you're a Jets fan, that's what you want. Zach Wilson, I'm sorry, I've not seen enough of Zach Wilson. I couldn't tell you a thing about him, okay? So I'm not going to tell you a thing about him. But if I'm the Jets, and I'm Robert Saleh, and I'm Woody Johnson, Chris Johnson, and I'm Joe Douglas, and, we're sitting in a room, and, we're going over, okay, what's the future plan of quarterback here? You got to let the head coach see what he can do with Sam Darnold. You have to see what the general manager is going to do in the draft from the second pick on. If you're going to trade the second pick and get an offensive weapon, if you're going to trade it, let's say, to Atlanta, and you're going to get Julio Jones, but if you trade for Julio Jones, he's not worth a second pick in the draft anymore. I'm sorry, he's just not. You could be a Falcons fan and tell me different, but I'm telling you he's on the decline. And a lot of people say, well, Matt Ryan really don't throw him the ball, or, Julio Jones has been hurt a lot. And that's the other thing. You're going to risk a second pick in a draft on a wide receiver who may or may not be healthy for you all year, who may have to sit out a game here or there because he's nicked up a bit. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take the chance on Julio Jones. If he was a free agent, yeah, I'd take a chance on him because you go give him a 1 year, $5-6 million deal, call it a fucking day. But I'm not risking a potential future second round pick. Sorry, not second round pick. I'm not risking the second pick in the draft on the unknown of a wide receiver being healthy or not. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And and speaking of, we got to go, and I gotta clarify some things for these so-called Steeler fans, the Steeler haters, the ones who claim to know so much. When the Ben Roethlisberger contract is discussed, and yeah, it's $41.2 million, right? So it accounts for 22.7% of cap space on the Steelers cap room this year. All right. What a lot of you fail to understand is half that contract's prorated. Half that money's prorated from 19, 20, and this year. So he gets a $15 million roster bonus, plus he's owed that, plus his $4 million base salary. Take all those numbers up, add them up, and that's $41 million. Because there's another thing in there, too. He's owed 19. He's owed $19 million from signing bonuses, then the roster bonus, plus the $4 million, and I think there's something else in there. But all those numbers, that's where the $41 million comes in. It's not $41 million to play this year. It's $41 million that's owed to him from restructuring and doing this, that, and whatever he did. And and a lot of people are saying, Jay, my buddy Jay, my co-host who would be sitting here, but he's not here. He said he read a report Juju goes to the Giants. Listen, I don't think, and then people can say, well, Juju is on Twitch, playing Fortnite in different jerseys, saying, oh, I'm a free agent, where do I sign? If you ask me personally as a Steeler fan, I think he's just doing that to get the front office to get this done. And they'll get it done because Ben came out and said he will play next year, but Juju has to be part of the plan. And again, I'll tell you this, Juju stays, and the Juju you've seen, Juju's still going to go out there and have fun. Don't get me wrong. He's going to go out there and have fun. But he's going to be a more determined Juju Smith-Schuster. That I can tell you. A lot of people talking about Connor, that they should just let him walk. Listen, I love the guy. But what's comical to me is last night they're talking about Nick Chubb of the Browns, right? How he rushes for 5 yards. He has an average of 5 yards rushing every rush, okay? Or every other rush, whatever it is. And they're praising him for it. But then, on the other side of it, though, Connor gets blasted for doing it. So, it's funny how one gets favored for doing it and the other gets shit on for doing it. So, the hatred for the Steelers doesn't just go from fans of other teams. I think it goes across the board, even from members within the sports media. You can tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist. Listen, it's just, if, let's case in point, let's say the Saints game, let's say that was the Steelers, let's say the Steelers against, they would have played the Bills so they would have played the Bills, right? So if Ben Roethlisberger played the way Breeze played yesterday, you'd all be blasting it. Let's just call it what it is. You'll all be blasting it. But I would be there saying he played like shit too. And that's where some people get this wrong when it comes to me personally. I'll always believe that this team is the greatest team on earth, followed by my Yankees, of course, and the Rangers. But I will bash my team when it needs to be addressed. When they're playing like utter dog shit, I'm not going to sit there and say they played great. I'm going to sit there, I'll tell you straight out, they played like dog shit. I'll tell you Ben had a bad game. The Browns game is a case in point. They played like shit from defense to offense. The coaching was abysmal. The play was abysmal. And again, the botch snap was the game setter. You just knew where it was going. You just knew. So, when people post things on Facebook, and I'll leave them nameless, I know who you're trying to target, but don't target me. Because that person knows, just like I know him very well, he's loyal to his teams, I'm loyal to mine. And that's what it comes down to. And I got to read all these posts from you fair weather fans of, oh, yeah, get rid of Juju, get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy. Listen, don't ride with us when we're winning, and then when, and then when shit hits the fan, you're no longer a fan and you decide to root for the next flavor of the week. No, don't do that. There was people on social media, oh, I'm burning all my Steeler memorabilia, my Steeler memorabilia, Steeler jerseys. Be an asshole if you want. Burn thousands of dollars you spent on shit. I'll never do it. But every team this year has a lot of questions going into the offseason. From my team to the Jets to the Giants, and this draft is going to decide teams' futures for the next 5 years, at the very least, the next 5 years. This is a draft. If you're a Jets fan, every pick cannot be a miss, and you have to hit on every pick. Okay. Now, I get in the draft. You draft a big kid coming out of college, and anything can happen. I get it. And then I got to read in Jacksonville that they already have a Super Bowl field because Urban Meyer's there. Listen, let me tell you, Urban Meyer was not the right choice for Jacksonville. And you'll come to find out why. I'm not going to tell you why. You will watch Jacksonville Jaguar games, and even with Trevor Lawrence, you will find out why they're not going to win a Super Bowl with Trevor Lawrence. I shouldn't say with Trevor Lawrence. They're not going to win it with Urban Meyer as the coach. This has become a younger coach's game now because of the way it's played. And Urban Meyer, I think, is too stuck in the Florida Gator offense from yesteryear. So, to me, that wouldn't have been the choice for me. If I was the Jaguars, I would have went after Robert Saleh or Saleh, whatever, however you say his name. That's the guy I would have went after if I was Jacksonville. That's the guy I would have went after. And then you got to see Raheem Morris in Atlanta, right? Being offered a defensive coordinator job. Actually, I think in Jacksonville. Why? Why? What? Just give the guy the Falcon job. I mean, the guy created a spark, even though the Falcons blew every lead possible. But still, he created a spark. They won a few games here or there, but give the guy a shot, a full year. You got to decide what you're doing with Matt Ryan in Atlanta. And from what I'm reading, anywhere they trade him, it's going to be like a third and a fourth, or a third round pick in this draft, and a second or third round in the following year's draft. But again, if you're going to trade for Matt Ryan, or if you're a team that's going to try to go after Phillip Rivers, you got to understand this. They're 1-year deals, and they're rentals. That's how you got to look at it. Would you pay a rental? And Indy did this, and I didn't like when they did it. When they signed Rivers this past offseason for 1 year, like $25 million. Why? He's going to be a rental. I mean, Frank Reich's come out and said he wants Phillip Rivers back. But all signs, to me, point to that they would want to go younger. Jim Irsay came out, and I guess he was drunk again, because he says they could win a Super Bowl with Phillip Rivers. Yeah, they got a good young running back. They got a good young wide receiver corps. But they have a decent defense, but they're still a few pieces away. They're not going to win a Super Bowl next year with Phillip Rivers. It's not going to happen. And that's not a knock on Phillip Rivers, because Phillip Rivers is definitely a great quarterback. And it's unfortunate because he's one of them in that draft class with Eli and Ben, that he'll always be known as a guy who couldn't get to the big one. And Eli and Ben could. And that's just what it is. Buccaneers even have questions in the offseason. Are you going to keep Antonio Brown after this year, or are you going to let him walk? For everything I've said personal about Antonio Brown, he's starting to play again like the Antonio Brown that he was, and that's a scary thought if he stays in Tampa for the next few years, or if he goes anywhere else. But I even had a Steeler fan ask me the other day, do you think if he walks from Tampa, does Pittsburgh go and try to get him back? And I'll be honest with you, no. I don't think he'd ever... Le'Veon would be welcome back in Pittsburgh at any point. Even after this year, I think he would be welcome back. But Antonio Brown burnt way too many bridges in Pittsburgh. That literally the only way he would be brought back is if the Rooney sold the team, Tomlin walked away, and Ben's already retired. Would be the only way you'd ever see him back in black and gold. It would be the only way you'd ever see it happen. Now, if Antonio Brown does walk, if you're the Jets, it's a no-brainer. You go and get Antonio Brown. Because I think him with Darno would work out, or him with whoever you're going to draft a quarterback, or if you trade for Watson is going to work out. And then even with that, the rumblings are that Houston's going to accommodate JJ, and they're going to trade him. And all signs point to he's going to come to Pittsburgh. It's not going to take that much to get him. The selling point really is, we already got TJ, we already got Derek. Why not add the third Watt? And if that happens, listen, I'm already on Fanatics ordering a JJ Watt jersey. I don't give a shit. Haters can hate me for that, and I don't give a damn. But again, as obviously this Sunday now, you got the AFC and NFC championship games, and they're gonna be great games. Listen, Buffalo's gonna throw everything at Kansas City, including the kitchen sink, flaming tables, multicolored dildos, whatever they got to do, they're gonna do to win this game. But the one knock I got to give Cleveland here, and I always got to knock Cleveland, and this just shows why people just can't stand this team, this organization. Travis Kelce came out after the game, and they asked him about the Mahomes hit, and he said that Cleveland was sitting there on the sideline after it all happened. They said, that's what we do. If that's your purpose, go out there and target people and injure them to get them out of the game. Just no. That's exactly why I can't stand the Cleveland Browns. Because they come out, they're over cocky, they're overconfident, and they're just an embarrassment to themselves. And that's why Cleveland will never win anything with Baker Mayfield. Sorry, not gonna win anything, Cleveland. Not gonna win a damn thing. I was even asked, speaking of the offseason, going back to Pittsburgh with the Bud Dupree situation. And a lot of people seem to forget that he played under the franchise tag. And I wouldn't franchise tag him again because I don't think he'll sign it. So I think, honestly, If you can convince Juju to sign a franchise tag, I would do it. Would I let Bud walk? I would see if I can get him back at less money. But if not, listen, and I'm going to say it again, Alex Highsmith filled in the role quite well. So Alex Highsmith pretty much he factored himself into maybe Pittsburgh's decision of letting Bud Dupree walk. And that's the factor here. If you let Bud walk and he becomes the Bud Dupree he was before TJ came on the team, then okay, no harm, no foul. But if he goes to anywhere else and lights it up like TJ's still out on the opposite side, I'm going to be pissed off, to be honest with you. But, again, the Steelers managed to put themselves in cap hell again, like they always do, by giving people too big of contracts for so much money. I'm sorry. I'll be honest with you. I think the Roethlisberger contract was way too much for a guy who's coming into the twilight of his career. Guy's gonna be 39 in, I think, March, and 41.2 million. I think you gotta, you could cut him. You could cut him, I think, by the third day in June. I think you have to cut him, and he wouldn't get the roster bonus. That would save you $15 million there. Now, if you do that, though, you're taking a big gamble, because what if another team decides to, Pittsburgh cut you, we'll pay you $15 million, and we'll pay you this, and we'll pay you this, and he goes and signs. Now what do? Now you got to start Mason? Come on, no. I think cutting Ben is not the answer, but I think getting him to kick back some of the money somehow is the only way you can go about fixing some of the cap situation, to getting some of these guys signed. Because listen, the Steelers got like 27 guys on free agency, and there's some I'd let walk, and there's some I would keep. Like Mike Hilton is a guy I would keep. Cam Sutton's a guy you got to keep. Villanueva, I'm sorry, I've tried defending the guy this year. I can't do it no more. I've run out of things to try to, defend his shit play. They're letting him walk. They recently, a few minutes ago, they said they're not renewing Duck Hodges' contract. So, good riddance, Duck. You had a good ride, but, see ya. Now, but again, with the Super Bowl coming up, nobody wants to see Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Nobody. Especially now I don't. And I've been vocal on that since I started the solo video tonight. Now I don't want to see him in the Super Bowl. Green Bay is going to have to play mistake-free football. Listen, that Buccaneers defense is no joke. Antonio Winfield Jr. is, in my opinion, is better than his father played. He plays better than his father played. Let's just call it what it is. Plays better than Antonio Winfield Sr. They got Devin White down there. He's a friggin' monster. He's all over the field. Green Bay's offensive line is going to have to protect Aaron Rodgers. So you better hope that they all got State Farm or some shit, because he's going to need a lot of protection in this game coming up. But does Aaron Rodgers pull out the victory over Tom Brady? Yeah, he does. He does. Because he just does. In my opinion, he does. There's just going to be... Aaron Rodgers is going to... I think Aaron Rodgers, if everything aligns correctly, it'll be a tie game, and Rodgers will have the ball with a little under 2 minutes left, and Aaron Rodgers is going to do what Tom Brady does to everybody. He's going to dissect the defense, and because let's just call it what it is. Many quarterbacks haven't mastered the 2-minute drill the way Ben has, the way Aaron Rodgers has, the way Brady has, the way Drew Brees even. You can make the knock on him for his political views and whatever else, but push that to the side. Drew Brees has been a consistent quarterback for years. Eli Manning was even good in the 2-minute drill. Peyton. Think of all the great quarterbacks who mastered the 2-minute drill. It's not an easy thing to do as far as managing the clock, knowing when to call a timeout, knowing when to run a play, spike the ball. A lot goes into it. And these announcers always say, 2 minutes is still a lot of time on the clock. Now when you really think about it, in real speed of the game, it's really not that much time to drive down the field, whether it's 90 yards, 80 yards, 70, whatever it is. But I'm telling you, I heard one guy today tell me, oh yeah, Green Bay is going to blow out Tampa. rarely do you see Tom Brady get blown out in a game. You know, other than the Saints, the second Saints game where the New Orleans went to Tampa and blew out Tom Brady. Other than that, you don't see it much. But as far as I'm concerned, my Super Bowl pick right now is the Bills-Packers, and the Bills win it. You know, this Bills team is just playing hungry, and you can't take anything away from. Listen, trading for Stephon Diggs was the smartest move the Bills made. The smartest move they made. Josh Allen going to work with Jordan Palmer, the smartest decision he ever made. But you can't take anything away from this Bills team. You can't shit on them. Listen, even in the regular season, when I looked at the schedule, and we were 5-0, we were 6-0, and 7-0, and the upcoming games were Washington and Cincinnati and the Colts and the Bills. And I told everybody, I said, listen, we should beat Washington. Listen, we didn't beat Washington. Okay, we should have beat Cincinnati. That didn't happen. I did say we would beat. I did say if we had one loss on the record, that would blemish the perfect season. Even though I didn't think we'd have a perfect season, and I'm so glad we didn't at this point. That the only game that I wouldn't sleep on is the Bill game, because the Bills always give us a problem. But listen, that would be the only game I would have been accepting of losing. Listen, the Washington game still kills me. The Cincinnati game still kills me. You know, I really can't say the last game of the season against the Browns kills me that much, because we all knew Mason was going to start that game. The minute Tomlin said he was resting practically everybody, we knew Mason was going to start that game, and we all thought it would be a blowout. Nobody thought Mason was going to have the comeback he had. You know, if it wasn't for missed pass interference calls, and you know, and whatever else that helped Cleveland win, you know, we would have been 13-3, not 12-4. But you know, the season ended the way it ended, and we can't go back in time and change it. You know, all we can do now is move forward, and the Steelers have already. Case in point, Fichtner. See you later. One of the other coaches retired. They took Matt Canada, who was working with the quarterbacks this year, and the wide receivers. He's the new offensive coordinator. But the issue is, and writers are already writing it and already stirring the pot up on that one. They're saying that he's more of a mobile quarterback type playbook guy. Okay. And Ben's going to be 39, and Ben ain't so mobile anymore. And they're saying that it may not work, and that's why you see Ben walk away and retire, and I still don't see it. I still don't see it happening. Ben is pretty much already come out and said he's coming back, but again, Juju's got to be part of the plan. And if Juju's got to be part of the plan, I'm sorry, haters, James Conner's got to be part of the plan. In this draft, you got to bolster the offensive line. And when you do that, the new offensive starting line next season better include Dotson and Chuck Okafor. I'm sorry, it has to. It has to, because if you looked at Dotson's numbers when he's on the field, nobody gets to Ben. Nobody. Not a soul gets to Ben. I think he let one person pass him in every game he's played. You know, a lot of people say, we need that power running back, and that's something we've been missing for years. Conner is a power running back. The issue with Conner, and I can admit it, is that he's never fully healthy. And that's because Tomlin doesn't know how to utilize the other running backs correctly. If you utilize Conner in certain situations, and Snell and others, and McFarland and others, we know what's going to happen. It's going to replicate what the Giants had with Earth, Wind, and Fire. You could say it won't, but it will. And the reason why haters will say it is because it's Conner, Snell, and McFarland, and they're all unknowns, and they're not big names. Well, neither was Jacobs, and neither was Ward, and neither was Ahmad Bradshaw, okay? They weren't big names in the league either until Earth, Wind, and Fire formed. That's it. But again, for haters to post on any social media site that I'm not knowledgeable, I am. You just don't like the team I root for. And that's fine. That's fine. You tell me my team sucks all you want. You can call them frauds all you want. You can say it's a cupcake schedule. But again, I reiterate, the Steelers don't write the schedule. Because if they did, because if the Steelers wrote the schedule, we would just play Cleveland 17 weeks in a row. We would just play Cleveland 17 weeks in a row. That's a cupcake schedule. And Cleveland Browns fans can say, oh, well, our team's improved. And I'll give Cleveland that. They've improved in areas on their team But it's the overconfidence, it's the overhype, it's the overcockiness, and it's all Baker Mayfield. That it's even spread to Jarvis Landry and Kareem Hunt, which by the way, mocking Juju in the locker room after you just beat the Steelers in the playoff game, you treated it like a Super Bowl. You should have shut your fucking mouths. You should have just packed up all your shit, left Heinz Field, went back to Cleveland, practiced, and got ready for Kansas City, and maybe you would have beat Chad Henne. Okay? Maybe you would have beat Chad Henne. But again, and I've said it all year, the Chiefs have a suspect defense, and they will give up big plays, and that's where Josh Allen will rip apart the Kansas City defense. Whether Mahomes is in this game or not, the defense has got to win the Chiefs this game. You cannot rely on Mahomes just constantly throwing the ball and taking the hits that he's going to take. Because if he's got to run around to throw a ball and take the vicious hits he took, in case in point, the Mack Wilson hit that he took, that took him out of the game. If he does that, you're not going to have Mahomes much longer. And it's the same case in point with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. You keep running around the way you're running around. Eventually, the glorified running back who plays quarterback is going to have a serious injury that, ends his career. And again, I know the NFL is evolving, and it's more, a run-happy quarterback league, throwing it on the run, doing this, doing that. But to consistently do it, Baltimore's got to change their playbook, and that's why Baltimore lost. And don't get me wrong, Josh Allen's the same type of quarterback as Mahomes and others that do it. But the difference is, and you could say this is a knock on Lamar, he's not a true quarterback. He's not a true quarterback. Will Lamar's accuracy improve? Yeah, but it should have already improved. It shouldn't be in year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 where it's consistently improving. It should already be there. You should have an offense where your quarterback, if he has to run for 5, 10 yards, but when you're relying on Lamar Jackson to run all game, come on. You and I all know that's not going to win you a game. It'll keep you in the game, but case in point, look what happened. He gets a concussion. He's out of the game. Patrick Mahomes has got to scramble around. And look what happens. Concussion. And he's out of the game. Listen, it could happen to Josh Allen this Sunday. It could happen to Brady this Sunday. It could happen to Aaron Rodgers. And then I got to hear that too with these guys. Oh, well, Drew Brees can quarterback sneak it. Why can't Ben? Because the Steelers aren't trying to put their quarterback in a situation where he gets all jacked up and can't play no more. That's why. Because anything can happen on a quarterback sneak. Anything can happen. You know it. I know it. It's just what it is at that point. But to jump off football for a bit, obviously, if you're a Yankee fan, you read, reports that the Reds were going to trade Luis Castillo. Read a scenario where Frazier and Andujar are going to be part of the deal. The Reds GM came out and said these are all false reports. We've had no talks with the Yankees. I read the reports, and and don't get me wrong, they're good to talk about. And the Reds GM could come out and say that these are false, but you and I don't know. I'm not the Reds GM. I'm not Brian Cashman, so I don't know. I just talk about what I read. Do I think the Reds trade Luis Castillo? I don't think so. But if they do, Frazier and Andujar for Castillo, I think that's all you really need to get it done. I don't think you need to add a third piece. I don't think you need to, put in like, what is it? Like slot money or whatever it is for like the, for like the Japanese players, whatever it is. I forget what they call it. I don't think you need to add that in there. I think Frazier and Andujar get it done. But if you trade Andujar, and then again, Justin Turner's out there, and the Yankees got to look at him, because if Gio Urshela is not ready by opening day, whenever opening day is going to be, whether they're going to go ahead on schedule and do a 162-game season, but you've already seen it in the NBA, that they're playing a full season, and yet they still got to postpone games, reschedule them. So I think Major League Baseball has to take a look at that, and, are we going to, even though they've already said that doubleheaders are going to be 7 innings, and they're doing that stupid extra inning rule, which to me is utter bullshit. Let's just call it what it is. I got to agree with pitchers on this one. You don't give up the hit or walk the guy and you got to pitch with a guy on second base already, at least in the 10th inning, no. In the 12th, 13th, 14th inning, yeah, I would go with that. You know, and we talked about it the other day and in past videos and podcasts that we've done. I would not start it with the 10th inning with somebody there. Again, the 12th inning, 13th inning, even if you want to do it in the 11th inning, I'm fine with that. But the 10th inning, come on. You know, robot umpiring, you know, they're exploring. Listen, if a regular umpire can't get it right, what makes you think a fucking robot's getting it right? Like, really? Come on. You know, but baseball's going to be interesting this year. You know, a lot of people saying it's going to be a full season. You know, we still have the off season to deal with right now. You know, who's going where? When's Springer signing? Springer's came out and said he wants to stay close to home, and he lives in Connecticut. And, you know, Mets beat reporters going out there, well, you know, Citi Field's not far from Connecticut. Well, neither's the Bronx. So, and neither's Toronto. So I think it comes down to one of those three teams, or even Boston, or the Phillies, or, you know, I think it comes down to any of them. I don't think he's going to go to LA. I don't think he's going to stay in Houston. I don't think he's going to go to Florida. I think, if anything, I don't think the Mets get him. I don't think the Yankees get him either. I think he winds up going to Toronto. That's where I think George Springer goes. Trevor Bauer, I honestly see him in a Dodgers uniform when it's all said and done. You know, you got Tanaka. He came out. He wants like a 1 year, $15 million deal. Listen, he's an older pitcher now. I'm not paying him $15 million. I'll give you 10 tops, Tanaka. And I listen. I love Masahiro Tanaka, but 10 years is all I would give him if I'm Cashman. You know, let's just call it what it is. Somebody else wants to pay him $15 million, then see you later. I hate to say it, but, you know, and I had to hear a Met fan today, you know, when I was at work, and he's like, oh, well, you know, since you guys signed Kluber, you know, listen, the reunion with Tanaka and the Yankees ain't fully closed. Unless they go and get another starting pitcher, then I'll be on here telling you that door is closed. Because, again, who is the guy who told all you Yankee fans and all you Yankee haters that DJ was staying in pinstripes? Hold on. Let me look around. Oh, yeah, me. That's right. I'm the guy who told you that. I'm the guy who told you when I started doing these podcasts by myself, up until I had my buddy Jay with me. I'm the guy who told you DJ was going to stay. I was the voice of reason for Yankee fans who wanted to jump off the friggin' bridge. Okay? I was the guy who told you DJ was staying. DJ stayed. Okay? It feels so good to be right at times. It just really does. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm wrong at times too. I'm sure, Sal, if you watch this later, you're going to tell me at times I'm wrong. I'm not going to disagree. And again, and I had to hear, a guy work with, he's a Met fan, and he asked me what I thought of the Lindor deal. And I said, honestly, you gave up one piece you shouldn't have given up. And that's Jimenez. I'm sorry. That deal could have got done without Jimenez in it. Because let's call it what it is real quick. I know we discussed it the other day, and we discussed it the day before that, but, you know, we'll discuss it now. Bottom line is this. What happens if Lindor doesn't re-sign with the Mets at the end of the year? What happens? Who's your shortstop then? You would have had Jimenez in the wings waiting. But now you don't. So that's what I said when I started these podcasts and I was doing the videos by myself. And that's when I said, if you're trading for Lindor, you need to have an extension attached to it. And this is the reason why. Because now the Mets, not only did they have to pay him $22.3 million in arbitration, right? Now, you're banking on him possibly wanting to stay at the end of the year. But he's banking on the Mets being a better product than they were last year and the year before and the year before that and many years before that. And it's not me knocking the deal at all. Listen, I'm not knocking the Mets for making the deal. The Mets had to make a splash to prove to the doubters, the doubters that are Mets fans, that Steve Cohen was for real. Steve Cohen went and made this deal. Okay? Him and Sandy Alderson, they went, broke into the deal. They got the shit done, right? But what I'm telling you is this. Is they messed up by not having the extension ready or haven't already offered him an extension. And you're going to say, well, Jim, we haven't seen what he's done in a Met uniform yet. If he stays healthy, expect what he's done in Cleveland. Expect him to do it in the NL. Expect him to do it. I would have already had an extension signed. Now, I know he's going to want a lot of money. But if you're the Mets and you already gave up part of your future to get an already established shortstop like Lindor and to bolster your starting pitching by getting Carrasco, I'm sorry, I would have had an extension attached to this. They didn't do it. So you're taking a gamble now on Lindor either staying or going at the end of the year. And that's where I do knock the deal. I would have had an extension already offered. Listen, 5 years, this is what it is, blah, 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 whatever it is. But I wouldn't have given up Jimenez in the deal in the event that Lindor does in fact leave. Because I see him leaving at the end of the year. Because I see a team like LA offering him a shit ton of money, or even the Yankees offering him a shit ton of money, where they don't have to give up anything. All they do is say, hey, 5 years, $175 million, and he'll take it. Because these players are going to go where the dollars make sense at the end of the day, no matter the sport. No matter the sport. And that's something that, whether you're a Met fan, Yankee fan like myself, have to realize that sports is a business. It's not just a sport, it's a business. And these guys worry about their families and their pockets at the end of the day, and it comes down to the dollar. That's all it really comes down to. If you're a sports fan that doesn't understand that, and you get pissed when, let's say Aaron Judge didn't take the arbitration that he was offered at like 10 point whatever million, right? And at the end of the year as a free agent, let's say he takes like a 6 year, let's just say the same deal DJ took. 6 years, like let's say 90 million, and went to, let's say, the Phillies. You'll all be pissed. You'll all be pissed. I would be pissed if they let Aaron Judge go. But you have to understand it from a business standpoint too, that these players are about themselves at the end of the day. We all know that. Come on. We all know that. You can call it selfishness all you want, but when you play in a sport, you have to build a brand, not only build a brand for yourself, but you're building up your own market, is what you're doing. And if you don't understand it, then don't watch sports then. Then don't get attached to the player, don't get attached to the team then. Just watch it for the fun of watching it, and don't get attached to a team and just watch it because you want to watch it then. I don't know what else to tell you. You people that think that these players have loyalty to their teams anymore, you still believe in the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus. Sorry, and don't let your kids watch this if they still believe in Santa. But, other than that, I'm going to run now because it's dinner time and I got to eat. And Jay should be back with me. I think we'll do one either Wednesday or Thursday. We'll go more in depth into the AFC Championship game, the NFC Championship game. I don't know, jump more into baseball, start getting more into NBA and NHL now. So again, you got any questions, you know where to hit me up. I'm on Twitter. You can email me. I'm on Facebook. If you want to meet up to do a podcast, we're willing to do it. So till then, you already know where to find the podcast. You already know where to find the videos on YouTube. Podcasts are on all major platforms, but this will just be in video form because Jay ain't here, so I can't use my phone to record and use the other camera to record it. So till then, stay safe, mask up. Fuck the Browns, haha, you're out. Fuck Cleveland, haha, you out. And see you guys on the next one. Peace.